All right, with this West 2 Facebook Live update, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday. We've got a lot of ground to talk about, a lot of things to kind of cover here with Ian as we go through the next couple of days. The one thing you're noticing now on the satellite imagery here tonight is little thunderstorm pockets beginning to develop all around that center of circulation. And when you take a look upstairs at this particular feature here, there is a large amount of outflow, meaning that the storm is getting better ventilated, meaning it's going to grow and get a little bit stronger. So that's one of the things we're going to be watching. A couple hellos, Earl, Ted, Darlene, Beatrice, Nancy Octavani, good to have you there, Margie, Ola, Yvonne, and Beth Bazzi, just a couple of folks that are in here. So there's the hurricane hunters. They're going back, going to relay that data back towards our computer models tonight up there, and hopefully let us and allow us to get some better forecast with this particular system going forward. Now I want to show you a different perspective so I can kind of draw on this particular feature. So what you're seeing up here, this is buoy data. This just kind of tells us what's going on around the periphery of this feature, and it's one of my favorite things to show. This is the visible satellite, and the wider perspective showed some big-time thunderstorms cranking up north and southeast side of this storm. So we like to see what's going on. Look at the thunderstorms right there, just south of Kingston, kind of blowing up. And again, there's the high for now, steering it towards the west. Once it gets right about in here, you're going to see a little bit of a turn more towards the north and the west, and then eventually the north. That's what we think is going to happen. And once it gets over now, these incredibly warm waters here, over the next 24 hours, we're going to start to see some rapid intensification. In fact, let me show you the 5 o'clock advisory for those of you that maybe been out all day and may have missed it. Lorraine, Danielis, Sarah Walsh, Rose Mattoon, Gerardo Lopez, Chrissy Bryn. Good to have you guys and gals in here. As you can see, look at that. It's pretty amazing going from a Category 1 to a Category 4 as we go from Monday on into Tuesday night, on into Wednesday. So when we take a look at the back end of the cone closer to home, the number one question is, hey, it looks like it shifted a little bit more towards the north and west of Tampa. That is correct. And B, why does it go from a 4 to a 2 so rapidly? Well, the reason for that, Cuddy Buddy, Viviana, Michelle Attardi, is we have a cold front that's going to be coming in across North Florida and South Georgia by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. I'm going to show you that on the water vapor channel here in a second, but I need to show you this. I wanted to show you the run, and I'm hoping, I don't have it there. Let me see something here on this one. Hold on. It's got to load in. Yeah, so that's 2 runs ago, and look at the big jog. It went from Havana just east of Cancun. So that's what we've seen today, a big push 7,500 miles farther west today. Now, the GFS that's coming in is actually coming back to these just a little bit, not much, kind of lining up still in the panhandle there of Florida. Not all of the models are escaping, though, Central Florida. And what do I mean by that? I want to show you this. Kelly, good to have you there. The big question is, Tom, an excellent question, by the way. Okay. So Ian and Charlie have taken a similar track for now. Charlie, though, was much quicker. I want to point out a few things here with you with the latest models. And Charlie was in this vicinity, if not just a little bit more towards the east. And boy, it sped up. It was like launched like a missile at us. This is not a missile. This is a much slower moving feature there, as we showed you with that cone. But look at the models. Look at where they line up tonight. And we get new models here in about an hour. The majority of them are on the western side of that forecast cone. The European computer model is pretty close to where this purple line is right there. But you can see that's been the trend since late this morning. Now the AVN is probably going to be right close to where the AEMI is with the 18Z data with it being run. The bottom line, though, is that you look at the intensity forecast here, and it's eye-popping. I'm not going to lie to you. All of the models, the majority of the models, pardon me, are Cat 3, Cat 4. So that's why we cannot stress this enough. We need you to keep urging. Easy for me to say. We are continuing to urge you to keep checking back in for updates. Did a lot of talking today, a lot of shows, and a lot of Facebook Lives. Yes, Terry, Space Coast still in play. Lori Anderson, New Smyrna Beach. Heavy rains, I do believe. We're going to show you the model by models here in a second. Now, let's take a look at the year on the GFS side by side. Katie Ann, good to have you. Lori McGee, good to have you there. Katie, Tabitha. So there's a look here. Let's take a look at this. There's 8 a.m. Monday. Look at how the size of the storms are growing and tilting more towards the north. See how the European, that little eye right there, hugging right along the west coast, right there. And the GFS, again, is bending more back towards the Florida Panhandle. So that's what we're going to be watching. Yuritsa, Bonnie, good to have you guys. So for now, with Ivan, here's the likely arrival time of tropical storm force winds. Tuesday evening, based on what we're seeing, South Florida, Southwest Florida. Wednesday morning, Central Southwest Florida. And then Wednesday evening, a little bit farther to the north. Through the Cancun, freaking out. Laura, hang in there. It looks like it's still east of you, most of the model tracks. Not to say that you're not going to have issues, but with the track still to your east, you're on the good side of the storm for now. Diana Nuyorican, Bren, Lori, good to have you guys. Castleberry, look, let's take a look. Here we go. Here's the side-by-side comparison. Look at how the GFS really cranks it up. The European starts cranking it up over that northwest tip. GFS model run again into the Panhandle. The European computer model is along the west coast. So big difference in location, but not in timing. They've ironed out the timing. The comparison of the timing is pretty similar timing-wise, but the location is the difference. You can see with the wind comparison, there's tropical storm winds over the entire peninsula with hurricane gusts in the western side of our viewing area. So that's something we're going to be watching very, very carefully. So for me, when you take a look now at the local impacts here, flooding threat is high. Tornado threat is medium right now. The European might be medium high, the GFS medium low. So we're going to kind of go in between the two. There's your wind gust, medium, storm surge now, still low. Now, one of the things that I'm a big fan of, Kathy Brunel and Laura, Sissy Jumper, Laureen, I would love for you guys to share this feed. Follow the page if you haven't done so already, as we keep you guys up to date, not only on bad weather and hurricanes, but good weather as well. Roxanne, happy to help you. Barefoot Bay on the eastern side for now. Still going to get some impacts, but you're not on the west coast where the impacts might be a little bit greater. So forecast winds from a tropical storm to hurricane perspective. You can see tropical storm force winds there approaching the west coast, as early as 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, then moving into our area by 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, and then just kind of lifting back up to the north. So just to kind of put things into perspective here for you, there you have it. Again, this is going to change with each model run. It does change. It did turn east last minute with a strong front coming across. That's correct. Joanne, Nicole, good to have you there. Renee Piazza, appreciate you guys popping in. Mount Dora, again, you're going to get some squally weather for sure, especially late Wednesday on into Thursday. Rainfall forecast, this is pretty amazing, pretty incredible stuff here. If the European is right, there can be upwards of 10 to 15 inches of rain in some areas. So that's one of the things, one of the biggest concerns we have right now is the flood potential. As far as the developments are concerned, we're watching for rapid intensification the next 24 to 48 hours. I personally don't see it turning much in the Florida. Let's see, Melbourne wouldn't be. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we haven't broken out the county by counties yet. We're still waiting. We want to get into tomorrow before we start getting a shell in there on those. So latest developments, we're watching for that rapid intensification the next 24 to 48 hours, tracking where it goes as it enters the Gulf of Mexico. Today it's been trending west. We'll have to wait and see what the models do tonight. Central Florida impact's looking like it's going to be Wednesday into Thursday. Again, Wednesday on into Thursday. And then as the storm approaches, this is what you should be working on already. Those supplies: food, water, batteries, flashlights, any medications. Backyard, clear the lanai, tie down any loose outdoor items, drain the pool, check fuel, generator, propane for cooking, and fill up the car. Another way to show the probability of tropical storm force winds is this way. And you can see with that center point there, along the west coast, just a 30 to 40% chance for feeling tropical storm force winds. Right there at Tampa, it is a little bit higher. It does jump up to about 50 to 60%. So again, just a few of the things that we're watching for you guys. Got a couple of other products here I do want to kind of work through here with you. Oh yeah, let me do this. All right, check this out. A couple of images here. So this is, that's good. Yeah, got better. There you go, better. Excellent. So some of you already got your plans going already. Now, look at this imagery. You're starting to see the spiral banding. See that right there? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so it's coming together, folks. And you know, on top, right here above the storm, you want high pressure. That helps to evacuate the air out from the surface, and then really get this thing cranking on up. And that's what's going on right now. That's a really pretty picture. This was the visible satellite, by the way. And I don't know if you noticed this, but boom. And boom, big tall thunderheads developing. And on top of that, two other things I do want to show you as we're trying to gauge what's going on with everybody here. There's a look now at the water temperatures, very warm. Wave action is going to start to grow now. It's already at 7 foot to the south of Kingston. As far as the watches and warnings are concerned, here we go. Tropical advisories up for tropical storm watches and hurricane warnings now up for the Grand Cayman Islands. All right, a couple of other models here I want to show. Let's see here. One of the things I like to do. So why is there a difference between the Euro and the GFS with the location of the track? That's a great question. Excellent question. So it's pretty simple. There's a big ridge of high pressure that's a bit stronger across the Bahamas with the GFS. And that is keeping that storm from making that turn across Florida. So that's one of the things that we're noticing with the GFS. However, with the European computer model, that big ridge of high pressure is a little bit weaker. That trough of low pressure is a little bit stronger to the north there, and that is allowing for this storm to hug the west coast and move northward. Not across the peninsula like it was doing yesterday, but along the west coast, a west coast hugger, which again would create many issues for us, including severe weather, flooding, heavy rain, potential for some tornadoes. There's the Euro. Look at how far south that dry air gets, almost to Orlando on Tuesday. Then it starts pulling up that storm to the northeast, basically right into Marion County, up towards Jacksonville, and then weakens it. Now, you take a look at the GFS. GFS, again, you can see that front's a little bit quicker, a little bit more north and east. That allows this storm to maybe come up a little bit farther to the north and stay just west of central Florida, at least the core of the strongest winds. Now you can see there's plenty of moisture there across the peninsula, meaning that the potential is going to be there for heavy rain, potentially a few isolated tornadoes. And again, these are all things we're going to be evaluating with each model run. I haven't shown this yet. Let me show these two. And then the side-by-side. So here we go. A couple more model comparisons for you. Can that high pressure get weak? Yasmin, you know, the runs can change. Is it going to be dramatic? Likely not. There's the GFS. Okay, it has trended to the west. We're watching that severe weather risk over us. With a track that far to the west, there would be a little bit lower flood threat. Not non-existent, and tremendous wind and surge concerns along the west coast and the Florida Panhandle. Now, with the Euro, here's the Euro. You can see western tip of Cuba, hugging the west coast, watching that severe risk, watching that flood threat, watching the wind and the surge concerns as well. So a lot going on right there. Okay, North Carolina. It's not set in stone, Pete. When are you returning, by the way? Typically, which model is more? You know, the GFS got a pretty good upgrade earlier this year, and it is doing a little bit better. But overall, I would still give the edge to the European computer model. Here's a side-by-side comparison, and you'll notice there's your storms. Euro GFS by 1:30 on Thursday, in between Cancun and Havana. Then by Friday 8:30, you can see that storm's lifting up to the north. So, just a few things to watch. I've got this model data looks a little bit off. Actually, ignore that. I don't like what I'm seeing there. Yeah, ignore that. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at Tropical Storm Ian here. So the prep timeline today, we're thinking about the possibility of something coming in. We're still in the cone. If we're still in the cone on Sunday, again, you want to top off that hurricane kit. Get your storm preps taken care of Sunday and Monday. Finish them on Tuesday, because by Wednesday and Thursday, that's when we think the storm moves in, and that's when we get into the thick of things here as we await. Still on Long Island, says Debbie. I saw one of the points of this. Troy, you know, the hurricane hunters in there did indicate that, you know, sometimes we get some wobbles, so we got to watch that. Seth, if it were to make it that far north, that would be a risk. Yes. Let's see if this updated. There's Saturday. There it is. Look at that. GFS Euro. Right there. So there it is. Euro's hugging the coast. GFS is a wee bit west with the strongest winds. Angela, yep, hoping so. I'm doing a trip on a cruise this Thursday. Thursday to be along the west coast. So if you're going out of Port Canaveral, south and east, you're fine. If you're doing a cruise out of Tampa, it's not going to happen. That's the way it looks right now. Lisa, does not look right now like it's going to hit as a Cat 4. However, I'm not saying that's not possible. So, yeah, so that's that. Okay, let me show you the 7-day forecast here. Kind of break things down for you. You see, so we're tracking the tropics Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Mainly Wednesday and Thursday, though. So we'll continue to watch the trends on that. So there you have it. Brittany James, just trying to keep it real like you guys. Not panic you, but just reassure you. Erica Wynn, will Brevard get bad weather? They have a chance for some active weather. There's no doubt about that. So we'll continue to watch that for folks over in Brevard County. And I'm not sure if sounds like you may be on the state of Florida watching us from somewhere else. Tuesday at Cancun, from Houston, Tabitha. Yep. Ruby, Juanita Jimenez. All right, Cancun. Let's show you Cancun. Hold on.
Going to Cancun?
Somebody might be going to Cancun. Let's see here. All right. There's Cancun. Both of the models right now have the strongest winds. Euro's east. GFS is hugging that coast. There would be some squally weather for sure on the GFS. European, you might just miss the western side of any tropical storm force winds. But with the Euro, it's going to be farther east, so you'd likely miss it with the Euro. GFS would get into a little bit of wind, not the potential 100+ mile an hour winds. That's going to be east of you, based on what we're seeing now. Keep checking back in. Cindy, you're welcome. You're in Tennessee. Yep. So we'll watch Brevard County. There's Brevard County. Brevard County on the Euro does have some tropical storm force wind gusts there, whereas the GFS keeps the core of that system well to the west of Brevard County. Lorena Mashburn, Lolo, good to have you back in here, girl. Any reports? Eric and Alex and I have been so busy today with just trying to keep up with the graphics, and so I haven't been watching the thread on that. Here's a look now at the concerns for us here. Flooding, right now, top of the list. Tornadoes, wind gusts, and storm surge on the east coast is low. However, on the west coast, it is not low. It is still quite high. Very, very concerned. In fact, let me show you. Got a cool graphic that I put together yesterday. It's this one. It's the tropical waves forecast graphic, and you can see starting to get a little bit of yellow there. 20-25 foot seas, northwestern Caribbean as it's developing into a Cat 4. Little blip of red there. That's 40 to 45 foot waves, and then again the lifts to the north into the Panhandle. So that would create lots of issues from New Orleans all the way back along the west coast of Florida. Ingrid, that's an understatement. Yeah, a lot for sure is definitely happening. All right, let's go back to the models and the tracks superimposed. You guys are big fans of this, so here's a look at what we got. There's a look at the models. Most of them right in the heart of our cone. The majority of them, though, on the western side. The AVN, which is the GFS, is just a nudge closer to the AEMI, just a scotch back to the east. Not much, just a little bit. Miami area will definitely have some squally weather, some showers, some storms, but they're going to be in better shape than folks, let's call it from Fort Myers, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville up north. That's correct. Euro would not be a good scenario there for Marion County. All right, so that's a look at all the models. We get new model runs here within about the next hour. We'll have those for you tonight at 10, and then again at 11. And at 11 o'clock, the next biggie is the forecast cone, and that will change depending upon what the models do tonight. Yeah, that's correct. Hurricane hunters did not find any significant wind in this storm. Nothing that would say, okay, time to increase the winds and lower the pressure. Not seeing that just yet, but we are starting to see some thunderstorms developing on the southeast and the east side. We have not seen that yet, so of course we'll continue to keep you updated on that. And if you missed the satellite loop here, here's a look at the latest information. Moving west at 14, just a little bit slower in that forward speed than earlier in the day. Winds at 45 miles an hour. Pressure now from the hurricane hunters down another millibar to 1,002. Joni, you're welcome. Terry, you got it. So there you go. All right, I'm going to make some updates here. Grab another quick little bite here, and then we'll be back at 10 and 11. And Alex and I are both back tomorrow night for the 6 to 10 and the newscast after that football game.
11:30, fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.